The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all its contents. In the unforgiving winters of 2023, I came across a very intriguing film named Annihilation. It was not an action film, rather, it looked weird, like it was horror, but not the ghost or the zombie kind. It was much more bigger, much more, I would say, primal, the horror of the cosmic unknown. Without any spoilers, the film follows the team of four scientist ish people who wander into this unknown forest, which, in layman terms, is changing. Like things inside it are not dying, animals are not acting in accordance to the nature's rule, the living and the non living are fusing, and the forest seems to have a soul of its own. From here, I'm going into the spoilers, so spoiler alert. At a certain point of the film, our protagonist, the biologist, comes across a video of some men who have earlier inhabited this place that they were currently in. And in that, she sees the insides of a guy's stomach moving, a person's body turning into a hauntingly beautiful fungus, and further, a bear who cries in human voice, and her own teammate turning into a plant. All this on paper sounds extremely weird and corny, but on screen, it hits the right amount of uncomfortable. We live on a placid island of ignorance, in the midst of black seas of infinity, and it was not meant that we should voyage far. No matter what religion you believe in, this idea of the far beyond, of the cosmic entities looking upon us, is as old as time itself. All the religions across the world could never get enough of these beings. Everyone imagined them as angels, as devils, as gods, and even as a part of their own consciousness. These paintings depicting the vast and endless space of horrors, or even heaven, the all encompassing bliss which depicts creature with close resemblance to our own life, but not quite enough. Even though the depiction of hell and heaven is supposed to be metaphorical, the idea of the cosmic beyond, of not voyaging far enough into the black seas of infinity, never seemed to leave the human consciousness. Okay, so before I start this video essay, I wanted to say that this is a fairly new channel with like no subscribers and 50 views. So yeah, you might doubt my expertise in this pursuit of making a video essay. And you're right, I'm just a guy. But I promise to entertain you. So, up to this point, I hope you have a general idea of what cosmic horror is, or at least you're confused enough to want to know further. So, cosmic horror is basically a sub niche of astrophobia and xenophobia. It is the child of these, the fear of the space and the primal, the oldest one, the fear of the unknown. It is fueled by this sense of human insignificance and dread in the face of the vast, unknowable entities and realities beyond human comprehension. Thus, the title and the thumbnail. It, in an ambiguously good and bad way, challenges our idea of existentialism, the philosophy of human supremacy over others. It causes us an existential dread. As an existentialist myself, though, this is hands down my most favorite, yet the most underrated of all horror genres. The Cthulhu, this sea dwelling octopus headed, four or maybe more armed, megalophobic beast, has to be my very first introduction to the world of cosmic horror. The brainchild of H.P. Lovecraft, who also is said to be the father of cosmic horror. In his words, he describes the monster as the thing cannot be described. There is no language of such abysmus, of shrieking and immemorial lunacy, such eldritch contradictions of all matter, force, and cosmic order. Even though his fear of the unknown, by many sources, was rooted in his idea of racism, he was considered racist even for his own time. He expressed xenophobia and anti Semitism in his private correspondence and writings. He was dehumanizing to non white groups and saw immigration as diluting. Usage of racist caricatures, degeneracy, and corruption were common at that time and were also present in his own work. Though later, after his marriage with Sonia Greeny, a Jewish immigrant, his views somewhat softened, making me believe that love can soften anything. But he never fully rejected his earlier racism formally. Though leaving all this aside, even his hate towards my skin color, he still is one of my most favorite literary personality. His talent somehow outweighs his personal beliefs. The Cthulhu, hands down, has to be the most profound and my very first introduction to his work. I hope he is hiding somewhere in the deep seas. Nearing the end of the film Annihilation, our protagonist reaches the source of all these happenings, all these changings. It was a cosmic entity who was exhibiting some kind of radiations which were causing this whole ordeal in the forest, which was causing the whole forest to move and act in this non earthly manner. The place where the entity had fallen from the space happened to be a lighthouse, which had now grown both up and down, with shards of glass looking like trees around it on the shore, and the creature in a deep slumber. At the end, we get a glimpse of what the biologist has been saying for so long, that this whole thing is not really supposed to have any other greater meaning. The thing is doing what it wants to because it is how it acts. It has no motivations, no plan of ruling the world. Even its consciousness is debatable. but at the end, it somehow manages to even alter a protagonist. And that's the real horror of the cosmos. It never has a plan. It does not think of worldly emotions like happiness, sadness, and domination. It is what it is. It is, in a way, like a snake who only knows to bite when threatened. It never thinks whom it is biting, what will be the consequences. It just bites anything it sees. This is what makes cosmic horror a much more harder genre to pull off. The murderers in that slasher film has the intention to slay you. The ghost has the intention to haunt you. But what is the intention of a cosmic entity? What is it thinking about humans? Or something even more horrific? Is it even thinking about us? There are other films too, which encompass this feeling with aliens. I would like to put all of them in the same bucket, as all of their aliens are pretty much in your face. That would be Arrival, with aliens looking into the past and the future simultaneously. Or from Bird Box and The Quiet Place, things that will kill you if you see them or they hear you. Though the Quiet Place ones I find pretty in your face with all their attacks and their presence. Or The Thing, in which a group of scientists again come across or face to face with an otherworldly shape shifting entity. Though all these film and depictions we see are different from Annihilation, at the end, all of them come to some kind of conclusion. The alien is caught or studied or communicated with or even gone and slayed. Though it mirrors human impermanence, the innate human desire to understand the ununderstandable. The most frightful of all conclusions is that beings of this earth are not truly human, but merely parasites of some cosmic entity. Earlier this month, the NASA discovered a very strange chemical compound on the floors of Mars, something which is found on planets with life, or in this case, ancient past life. The NASA Wally robot, known as Curiosity, has the custody of these particles and will give it to us in 2030 when we send someone to bring it back. If it somehow happens to be the evidence of ancient Martian life, then somehow, even if they are microbes, our innate fear of cosmic horror rises and furthermore solidifies. But meanwhile, we have something more legit to fear about the universe: the all consuming black hole. I don't think it is necessary that all cosmic horror should be living and should be following this clearly earthly division of living and non living. Isn't the fact enough that at event horizon of the black hole, light, matter, and even time itself cannot escape? Or the fact that by merely being near the black hole, time slows down compared to the universe outside? Or even the fact that they are like completely invisible? Some galaxy out there could be orbiting around a black hole, as well as simultaneously being consumed by it. This makes it much bigger of a cosmic horror. And even a more legit one, as it is right around us. Black holes are stranger than anything dreamed up by science fiction writers. Okay, I'm not an expert on all the religions in the world, but in every religious text, its consciousness, there lies this thought of human smallness and incomprehensibility, of something of such magnitude coming towards us that we will never be able to explain it in words. Where Hinduism sees the goddess Kali as a cosmic being, devourer of the worlds, with time itself being her weapon, or Shiva, the Hindu god whose destructive form is terrifyingly cosmic, his dance shattering universes, or Christianity, with its beast of seven heads, trumpet blowing angels, a bottomless pit, or hell, literally being a void beyond comprehension, or in Islam, the day of judgment, with the imagery of falling stars, sky ripping apart, focusing on the idea of human helplessness, or Norse mythology, where a wolf consumes the sun, a snake poisons the sky, and even the gods die, the world thus sinking into darkness, a terrifying cosmic reset. And finally, Buddhism, describing countless kalpas, cosmic cycles, where entire universes are formed only to burn and collapse and repeat this endlessly. Seeing humanity as just a speck of dust. These were only some of the religions, though each follows this idea of a void, chaos, something huge. In a way, religion always copes with the incomprehensible by giving it a face, by making it a god or a demon, something which humanizes the unthinkable. Okay, so I kept this film as a separate part because this needs quite a serious discussion. The Mist. I am going to go into the spoilers of the film, so spoiler alert. But also, this film is like 18 years old, so whatever. The film follows the story of a father and a son duo stuck in a departmental store with many others as they witness a weird mist kind of thing surrounding the store and their whole town, which further reveals to have unthinkable monsters in them. Though the special effects look kind of corny for today's standards, the film stands out due to its incredible use of the mist to really amplify this horror of these monsters. Like at the very start of the film, we see a Lovecraftian creature with tentacles just ripping off the legs of one of the guys in the store, which sets the tone for the whole film. At the very end, as the protagonist escapes with his son and a few companions, we see an incredibly large creature in the background, larger than any building, as if its stature is touching the sun, though here no sun is present, as all is covered in the mist. This one scene makes his whole journey of our protagonist feel completely insignificant. The creature is not hostile. I don't even know if it registers our protagonist. Other than this very literal monster, The film also focuses on the human mind losing it at the thought of the unimaginable, and thus makes it, or trying to make it, in a very pathetic attempt, make sense. Like in this film, a lady constantly emphasizes that this has something to do with religion, with God's anger. Overwhelmed by these happenings, she also manages to form a cult of people believing her. This idea of a cult forming in the face of cosmic horror is surprisingly a common one in these films. May it be the cult of the blind in the Bird Box, as well as the people forcing to see the horror in the same film, or people living in faraway island, safe from the sound monsters of a quiet place, worshipping, fearing, or escaping the unknown has always been our primal response. While researching this video, I came across an incredibly interesting series of YouTube videos which use their incredible talent to show this horror. I'm talking about the videos, The Creatures of the Fog and The Creatures of the Time. These two, somehow with concealing the monsters in the background, in the mist, or in the far away, still manage to spook the living daylights out of us. In the very beginning of the video, Creatures from the End of Time, our protagonist says a very profound line. There is nothing left for us. This is the end. Which can pretty much sum up all the past minutes that I've been talking about. It somehow shows the broken state of our protagonist, who cannot even fathom this thought. He cannot even form a full sentence. In another similar video, Creatures of the Fog, we get a POV shot of our protagonist seeing something incredibly large, which I can only describe in my earthly language as a centipede to its closest resemblance. But this one is flying or levitating, unbothered by the surroundings, giving a feeling that it too, like us, it's stuck in this odd passage of time. In all these media, we never ever think about the monster that is doing all this, either willingly or most of the time unwillingly. Is it really evil, or is it our projection of the good and the bad? Very few pieces of media see it as just another creature. A shark does not bite because it's evil, it bites because it has nothing else to do. A scorpion stings only when it's threatened. It's the only thing it knows. There is no cosmic purpose around it. Ironically enough, the monsters of cosmic horror too might not have a cosmic purpose around it. It might just be doing it because that's the only thing it knows. May it be Lovecraft's Cthulhu, the Deep Ones, or Dagons, or the alien in Annihilation and the Thing. They are not evil, or even horror for that matter. Maybe someone out there found peace turning into a tree in the forest of annihilation. Or maybe someone found solace when their mind got controlled by the Cthulhu. Maybe at the end, we all are looking forward for a peaceful cosmic horror to end our worldly sufferings, to fight for a single cause, to look up at the horizon and see something so incredibly big that it breaks us. At the end, I would say that after all my research, I don't fear Cthulhu or that annihilation alien or any other creature of such sorts. I oddly have humanized the inhumane in my mind. So, until the next time we meet, be safe and keep looking forward for my video essays. Bye.